97.7 Athens. From Athens, West Virginia, this is Old Boots and New Roots.
I'm Logan Bennett, and welcome to Old Boots and New Roots. Today, we're here with the very talented David Miner. David, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
For those who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
It's David Miner. I live in New Braunfels, Texas. I'm a country musician and a songwriter and a guitar picker, and I play music.
What first got you interested in music?
I'd have to say it was my parents. They were always very musical growing up. Lots of music playing constantly around the house. That's where I got into rock and roll and country music and all that stuff. And yeah, they were the first influence.
So, I know that you didn't realize you wanted to be a musician until pretty recently. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I always wanted to be a musician. I just didn't know it was a thing that you could do. You know, like everyone growing up, like musician is the a occupation. Everyone's like, that's you got to win the lottery to be able to make a living playing music, or it's so hard, or everyone quits, or don't quit your day job is something you always hear. And then uh, once I got to college, some friends convinced me to play at an open mic, and I finally brought the guitar out of the bedroom and played an open mic, and immediately was hooked and started trying to book shows around Fort Collins, Colorado, and uh, realized I could give it a shot.
So, what got you interested into the more classic country sounds?
My well, my parents always were listening to like Waylon and Willie and Johnny Cash around the house and stuff, so that's what I grew up on. And uh, I would listen to country music in the early 2000s when I was growing up, but I kind of during high school stopped listening to country for a little while and was pretty heavy into rock and roll and stuff, and came back a few years later to country radio, and I was kind of shocked by what I heard. So I kind of started diving back into the old stuff that I'd grown up on, and realized that I value songwriting and musicianship and stuff, and
Who
it
would you
stuck.
say are your biggest musical influences?
Writing was I love Guy Clark. I love Tom T. Hall and Billy Joe Shaver. Those guys influence my writing, or I hope they do at least a whole bunch. But then music wise, just I love kind of classic Texas dance hall music and acoustic kind of singer songwriter stuff. So it's just a blend of all that kind of good stuff.
If you could collaborate with one person, who would it be?
Mm, ooh, that's really tough. I'm going to say one person who's not living would be Guy Clark. I think that would be, I mean, couldn't imagine anything better than that.
And then I know that most of your early music was just you. So, how'd you get into more collaborations with other people?
I realized I wasn't that good at drums. I just started meeting people. It all, recording my own music just started as like a hobby and kind of messing around with it and putting out songs. And, again, when someone was like, oh, you can put it on Spotify and stuff. I was like, no, I had no idea. So I put it up there. And as I started to kind of venture out in the world of country music a little bit more and meet more people and make new friends, I realized there's a lot of very talented guys out there. And it's just more fun to play with talented people than yourself.
So, how would you describe your songwriting process?
Uh, Imperfect. I'm really sporadic about it, and oh, I'm not a traditional country singer in a lot of ways. I'm pretty bad at co-writing because I have such a weird kind of writing style, and I'm I don't write often, but when I do, everything flows out. And yeah, imperfect, sporadic. That's my writing style.
I was listening to an interview you did, and you talked about your songwriting being like poetry.
I like, yeah, I want it to be poetry. I think the words should be able to stand on their own and be enhanced by the music. And I've always enjoyed creative writing in many different forms. And yeah, I think songwriting has a lot to borrow from uh, poetry and even novels and stuff like that.
So most recently, you dropped the album Heartache Songs. Tell us a little bit about the making of that.
Oh man, it was the most fun I've ever had making a record because it was the most different people I could work with and really talented people, and it was my friends. It was a lot of people that I consider very good buddies of mine, and I really enjoyed writing the songs for this album. I feel like it was like the record I've always wanted to make because I had a talented enough band to kind of pull off that kind of honky tonk sound, which is a lot harder to pull off than a lot of people, think it is. So, yeah, I just had a blast. I really enjoy it.
What is your favorite song of yours to perform?
Perform? Ooh, it depends on the crowd. If it's a crowd that's a little more of a singer songwriter listening room kind of situation, I love playing Ellie because there's a lot of space in that song for people to, kind of sit with them. And then if I'm playing in a more rowdy setting, I'd say something like Pennies Out of Pain is the favorite of my songs I like to play. That's a fun one.
And then what if you do covers, what would be your favorite cover to perform?
Oh, Freeborn Man by, we do the the Tony Rice version, but it's an old Jimmy Martin song, and a lot of my favorite guitar players have covered it. And it always gives us a chance to pick, and it's just high energy. We play it at tempo 500 BPM, and it's a lot of fun.
What would you say is your favorite moment you've ever had on stage?
There's a lot of them. Truly, I'm blessed to, play music for people, and it really makes me feel grateful every time I go out there. I'd say my favorite time was we were playing at the Mission Ballroom in Denver, Colorado, and that was the biggest venue we'd ever been invited to play at by anyone. And the band and I were very, very nervous to go out there, but I think the second we all walked out together and like the crowd kind of made a big sound, and all three or all four of us kind of looked at each other and like, this is gonna be a lot of fun, and it was a lot of fun. It was just a blast.
In your musical career, what is the best advice you've ever been given?
Best advice I've ever been given. I had a friend of mine tell me recently to just stay my course and not panic, and that everything will work out if I just keep doing what I'm doing, keep growing and learning and stuff. And that's I think that's something I need to remind myself of every day, because it's really easy, especially as a independent solo artist, to get in your own head and be disappointed in your numbers or your show attendance or whatever the heck. But just push it, and be able to look back on yourself a year ago and say, okay, I am like.
Looking at 2023, what all do you have planned?
My plan is just to play as many shows as I possibly can and get in front of as many people as I can. I'm writing, building up another album's worth of songs. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to kind of get my foot more in the door in the kind of Texas music scene, since I'm pretty new around here, and I'm just lots of shows, as many as we can do.
If people want to find out more about you, where can they follow you at?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at David Minor Country or davidminorcountry.com. That's where all the tour dates are.
Well, thanks for talking with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You have a good day.
Yeah, you too, man. Appreciate it.
Why is he hanging around?
Does he think you still love him? And when you see him in town, do you think fondly of him? Thought of you with another makes my heart hit the ground. And it sure begs the question, why's he hanging around? When I hold you at night, does he weigh on your mind? Do the memories come creeping like age over time? Can you hear my heart breaking? Listen close to the sound of a lonely man wondering, why's he hanging around? Why's he hanging around? Does he think you still love him? And when you see him in town, do you think fondly of him? Thought of you with another makes my heart hit the ground. And it sure begs the question, why's he hanging around? Tell him why. You know that I trust you, as I oft had before. Those thoughts come knocking when the wolf's at the door. And once more, if I see him, I may just come unwound from all the worrying and the wondering, why's he hanging around? Why's he hanging around? Does he think you still love him? And when you see him in town, do you think fondly of him? Thought of you with another makes my heart hit the ground. And it sure begs the question, why's he hanging around? So forgive me for asking, why's he hanging around?
WVCU is brought to you by Aramark, located at Concord University and online at aramark.com. WVCU would like to thank Aramark for their support and their commitment to education in our community.
WVCU is brought to you in part by the Hatter's Bookshop, located at 929 Mercer Street, Princeton, West Virginia, and online at thehattersbookshop.com. WVCU would like to thank the Hatter's Bookshop for their support and their commitment to education and our community.
WVCU is brought to you in part by Vine and Branches. Located here on Concord University's campus, Vine and Branches is a Christian community open for all, where you can connect with God, others, and yourself. WVCU would like to thank Vine and Branches for their support and their commitment to education and our community.
WVCU is brought to you in part by Cheap Thrills Records, located at Princeton and Beckley, West Virginia, and online at cheapthrillsrecords.com. WVCU would like to thank Cheap Thrills Records for their support and their commitment to education and our community.
At the tender age of 18, the Seattle-born crooner Gus Clark hit out to explore the United States with a backpack and a mandolin, cutting his teeth playing on the street and traveling by freight train, or the kindness of those still bold enough to pick up a hitchhiker. Emerging over 10 years later as an accomplished multi-instrumentalist, guitar, accordion, mandolin, and more, he now pays beautiful homage to the ultra-deep well of golden era American music traditions, ranging from pre-World War II blues to 1960s Nashville honky-tonk. In a voice that combines unique sincerity with pitch-perfect emotive richness, Clark delivers classic barn burners, good time dance tunes, bittersweet heartbreak ballads, and his own originals. His remarkable tenor and powerful musical presence are guaranteed to both wrench hearts and propel listeners onto the dance floor, whether Clark performs solo or backed by his rock-solid band. Over the years, Clark has proved himself as a staple of the Seattle music scene, frequenting the area's renowned country dance bars and Americana venues and lighting up its largest festivals with a range of projects. A regular guest vocalist at tribute nights and charity events, he shared the stage with contemporary greats and up-and-comers, such as Charlie Crockett, Pokey LaFarge, Eileen Jewell, the Cactus Blossoms, Jeremy Pinal, Whitney Rose, Easy Leaves, and Jamie Wyatt. He's a regular touring member of the outlaw party country band Country Lips, contributing on accordion, vocals, and mandolin. For a decade now, Clark has also made music in a unmatchable mix of early jazz, jug band, country, blues, old-time, Cajun, klezmer, and originals, with his musical sibling, the Virginia-raised fiddle virtuoso and singer-songwriter Annie Ford. The dynamic duo's sweet harmonies have won hearts in humble living rooms, on street corners, and on the grand stages of old vaudeville theaters.
Starts with a simple melody, and then you add a bit of harmony. It's an old tune from way in the past. Not too slow, honey, not too fast. Just sing a song, sing with me. It's okay if you're a little off key. If the words are wrong, honey, that's alright. Sing with me, oh yes, we can sing all night. Just like a choir in church on a Sunday, and like a miner back to work on a Monday. Mama sang it around our old home. It seems like something that you've always known. So sing a song, sing with me. It's okay if you're a little off key. If the words are wrong, honey, that's alright. Sing with me, oh, we can sing all night. It'll lift you up, it'll never let you down. Put on a smile where you once held a frown. It's all you need, just never knew. So sing with me and you won't feel so blue. Yeah, sing a song, sing with me. It's okay if you're a little off key. If the words are wrong, honey, that's alright. Sing with me, oh yes, we can sing all night. Sing a song, sing with me. Sing with me. It's okay if you're a little off key. If the words are wrong, honey, that's alright. Sing with me, oh yes, and we can sing all night. Oh mama, we can sing all night. Yes, baby, we're gonna sing all night.
Dylan Earl is a man shaped by the land around him. Originally from Lake Charles, Louisiana, but naturalized by the natural state as a teenager, Dylan, or Durrell as he's come to be known, has been active in the Arkansas underground country scene for over a decade, first as a founding member of alt country band Swamp Bird, and then as a solo performer and songwriter. Using a sonic blend of honky-tonk, southern rock, and traditional country, Dylan Earl crafts thoughtful, introspective tunes straight from the heart, each song a dog-eared page from the chapters of his life. Alongside his friends and contemporaries like Willie Carlisle and Nick Shoulders, Dylan has been heavily involved in carving out space for socially conscious country music in the Mid-South region and beyond. In addition to his participation in local and regional music over the years, he's also been actively touring throughout the United States, England, Norway, and Sweden. From DIY generator shows to festivals, from honky-tonks to house concerts, Durrell has been bringing folks together all over the northwest Arkansas region for the love of a country music that implores listeners to love everybody.
I'm going down to the Greyhound station. I'm gonna get a ticket to ride. I'm gonna find that lady with 2 or 3 kids and sit down by her side and ride till the sun comes up and down around me about 2 or 3 times. Smoking cigarettes in the last seat. Try out my songs for the people I meet and get along with it all. Go down where people say y'all. I'll sing a song with a friend and change the shape I'm in and get back in the game and start playing again. I'd like to stay, but I might have to go to start over again. I might go back down to Texas. I might go to somewhere that I've never been. Get up in the morning and go out at night, and I won't have to go home. Get used to being alone. I'll change the words to the song and start singing again. Looking for answers to questions that I already know. Well, I could build me a castle of memories just to have somewhere to go and count the days and the nights that it takes to get back in the saddle again. I'll feed the pigeons some clay and turn the night into day and start talking again when I know what to say. I'm going down to the Greyhound station. I'm gonna get a ticket to ride. I'm gonna find that lady with 2 or 3 kids and sit down by her side and ride till the sun comes up and down around me about 2 or 3 times. I'll feed the pigeons some clay and turn the night into day and start talking again when I know what to say.
Wielding an ethereal croon and masterful whistle crafted from a lifetime chasing lizards through the Ozark Hills, Nick Shoulders is a living link to roots of country music with a penchant for the absurd. Combining his family's deep ties to regional traditional singing with his years of playing to crowded street corners, Nick has sought to forge a hybridized form of raucously clever country music, born of forgotten rocky hollers and bred to confront the tensions of the 21st century South. As evidenced by his surreal album art and anachronistic songwriting, Nick's creative output is steeped in the complicated history of his beloved home of rural Arkansas, but crafted as a conscious rebuke of country music's blind allegiance to historical seats of power and repression. With a kind word and mean yodel, Nick hopes to put the try in country. Here is your Country Music Minute. This past Thursday, just a few miles outside of her hometown in Chalky, Oklahoma, Reba held the grand opening for her new 3-story dining and entertainment establishment. Creative and casually named Reba's Place, The restaurant will serve a long list of food choices personally selected by none other than Reba herself. The dishes are inspired by famous ones in her hometown and locations she frequents. The menu includes Choctaw's famous beef brisket, a fancy steak, and a southern-style charcuterie board. The location will also hold a great deal of Reba's personalized memorabilia, and according to the website, pieces will regularly cycle and change. But for Reba, this isn't just another challenging feat in a new arena. She refers to Reba's place as an excuse to get to come home, and she also added that the venue will help provide needed jobs in the small community where she grew up. The grand opening featured a pop-up concert from the woman herself, and also a few kind words from the local Choctaw Nation senior executive concerning Reba's involvement in an attempt to give back to her community in a new, fun way. Auburn Rodeo just announced their spring and fall performers for 2023, and it's a stacked bill. They revealed Zach Bryan will headline in the fall, and Cody Johnson will headline in the spring, along with performances by Whiskey Myers, Shane Smith and the Saints, Haley Witters, Yellowstone star Luke Grimes, Ian Munsick, and J.R. Carroll. Sunday Best hasn't released an album in over 6 years, but that's all about to change. The Prestonburg, Kentucky duo of Christopher Lee Bentley and Nicholas Jamerson released their last album, Almar Sky, in 2016, culminating a prolific 4-year stretch that included 4 albums, a live album, several singles, and a rapidly growing fan base that catapulted him to the forefront of the Appalachian music scene. All this momentum was put on ice in early 2018, though, when Sunday Best announced that they would be breaking up. Longtime friends, both Jamerson and Bentley pursued separate musical endeavors for several years, prior to announcing the band was getting back together in 2020, and shortly thereafter returning to playing shows together as Sunday Best. They began releasing music again in 2022, and towards the end of the same year, Sunday Best finally announced their next full-length record, Feel Good Country, slated to be released on February 3rd, 2023. The duo released the album's lead single, Walk by Faith, featuring Mac Powell last February, and never took their foot off the gas throughout the rest of the year, releasing 3 more singles for Feel Good Country before 2022 reached its end. Either Jameson or Bentley contributed to the writing of each song, employing the talents of several other songwriters and the production skills of Levi Lowry to complete the project. Now here we are just under a week away from the album's release, and as anticipation continues to build at a rapid rate for the album's release. The year of Jonathan Payton has begun. We got news the Georgia native has been working with Sadler Vaden, guitarist for Jason Isbell and producer of Morgan Wade's Reckless, on an album that will be released at some point this year. And Friday, we got to hear the first taste of what that's going to sound like. We'd heard Denial previously when he and his wife Abigail played it in the snowy Red Rocks parking lot before the infamous All My Homies Hate Ticketmaster Zach Bryan live album was recorded. And now we get to hear it in its full studio version, Glory. The songwriting still gets me every time, telling a tragic story of a woman refusing to accept bad news, holding on to hope that sure looks like denial. Keep your ears and eyes open, ladies and gents. Jonathan Payton is going places.
Tired of hearing the same type of music each and every day? Yeah! Well, WVCU has a wide variety of music to listen to.
What?
Yep, here on WVCU, we believe that more is better. And with almost 10,000 songs on our station that range from country to pop to rock, we cover a wide variety of music for our audience.
Okay!
From every hour of every day, WVCU is sure to play music you love.
Texas-based recording artist Summer Dean is as authentic as they come. The acclaimed singer-songwriter owns the stage from the moment she struts into the spotlight, captivating audiences across the country with her sly wit, southern charm, and soulful songcraft. Night after night, her down-home dynamism illustrates exactly why she's a highly sought-after artist, an opener for the likes of Marty Stewart, Asleep at the Wheel, Colter Wall, Charlie Crockett, and Mike and the Moonpies. The seventh-generation Texans' roots run deep and proud, not only in the Lone Star soil, but also in the grand tradition of the state's sonic storytellers, timeless talents like Willie Nelson, Robert Earl Keen, or Chris Christopherson. Dean grew up listening to the greats on her family's ranch, and she now easily takes her place alongside them. Look no further than her superb sophomore album, Bad Romantic, which showcases her ability to spin yarns both amusing and affecting. The record, cut to tape at Fort Worth's storied Niles City Sound, includes her collaborations with Colter Wall, who duets with Dean on You're Lucky She's Lonely, Robert Ellis, Whitney Rose, and Brennan Lee. Critics are captivated by Dean's unique blend of vulnerability and verve, with Texas Monthly calling Dean among the state's first-rate sonic artisans. And Wide Open Country saying she's not content to wait around for doors to open. She'll bust them down herself. Indeed, what you see is what you get with Summer Dean. She makes real, raw country music performed by a talent so undeniable, it's not a question of if, but when.
If you're looking for love, find a new left hand, 'cause I'll be leaving with these boys in my band to another town. Another show, another like you, with a 1995 o'clock shadow. Well, I want something new, 'cause I'm a bad romantic at 2:15. Well, if you're looking for heartache, well, I'll bring you pain. Love it or leave it, hell, I'm not to blame. 'Cause the devil's on my tongue and the rope that's my feet. Yeah, it's the only hand I can play and not cheat myself, it's true. Well, I ain't anything new, just a bad romantic at 2:15. If it's time you're looking for, well, I've got plenty tomorrow when my boots hit the boards and I drive all day, trying to make Reno, trying to hold on to what we know as a simple truth. I need a different view, 'cause I'm a bad romantic at 2:15. Well, if you're looking for love, go out and see the world. You're from Los Angeles or maybe Pearl, just drive all day and don't get where you're going. Riding on the road you should be on. Well, come along with me and try something new. Become a bad romantic at 2:15. We're all bad romantics at 2:15.
A truly original new voice and songwriting, Bella White creates an undeniable magic by mining the rare duality at the heart of her artistry. Although she hails from the Canadian city of Calgary, the 22-year-old singer multi-instrumentalist grew up on the classic country and old-time music she first discovered thanks to her father, a Virginia native who played in bluegrass bands all throughout her childhood. On her debut album, Just Like Leaving, White balances her old-soul musicality with a lyrical perspective that's entirely of the moment, embracing an intense self-awareness as she documents her coming of age in real time. I'm still quite young, but I was very young when I wrote this album, says the Victoria, British Columbia-based artist. All of these songs came from processing my feelings right as I was experiencing things for the first time in my life. Produced by Patrick McGonigal of the Lonely Heartstring Band and mixed by Grammy Award-winning engineer David Cinco, Just Like Leaving bears a powerful authenticity that prompted Rolling Stone to praise White's songwriting as sublime Appalachian heartbreak. In sculpting the album's sparse but lushly detailed sound, White worked with a lineup of musicians she encountered through the years of making the rounds at Roots Music Festival, including Ree Stutz, Julian Pinelli, and Robert Allen Mackey. Currently writing for her second album, White has already begun to see the impact of her debut's exacting self-reflection. Just Like Leaving feels like a storybook of the things I went through when I was 18 and 19. Each song is about a very specific feeling from my relationships during that time, she said. I've had a lot of younger people tell me that they relate to the experience of learning about yourself through someone else. And I've also had older folks tell me how it reminds me of when they were younger. I used to fear sometimes that I might run out of things to say in my songs, but I don't feel that way after seeing how this album has affected people. It's reminded me that there will always be a creative source for me to tap into.
Yet another sleepless night, no dreaming. I woke again to the absence of your words, to a big old empty bed and the feeling I could scream at the top of my voice, and still I would not be heard. And in the morning, where you'll find me, staring at the ceiling on my own. Well, my mama fell in love in East Virginia. Well, maybe Richmond's the way I ought to go. Well, I was raised on the trust and wishful thinking that my mama instilled in me when I was bold. Well, sometimes it got away without my knowing, but mostly it just helped me to be bold. And now I'm so scared what might happen. Well, maybe I'm just too young to know, for at least that's what the people like to tell me, especially the ones that I thought I loved them. And I go in the morning, where you'll find me, staring at the ceiling on my own. Well, my daddy fell in love in North Carolina. Well, maybe Charlotte's the way I ought to go. Now, to me, the word love has lost all meaning. Oh, it's just an empty sound I thought I'd always know. Before my daddy used to sing it to my mother, but then he went and he left her all alone. And I know in the morning, where you'll find me, staring at the ceiling on my own. Well, dreaming never met me in Alberta, so I packed my things, Tennessee I did go. Dreaming never met me in Alberta, so I packed my things, Tennessee I did go.
You're now listening to Old Boots and New Roots, where we only play your favorite country classics and the best up-and-comers in the independent country scene. Only on WVCU.
On Seem Like Tears Ago, released worldwide October 4th, 2019 via his own Melodyville Records, Smith Music, Jason James follows his self-titled 2015 debut with 10 original odes that recall the work of his influences without resorting to mimicry. Jason James may have a long way to go to forge a similar legacy to the greats of golden era of country music, noted Trigger and SavingCountryMusic.com, but he doesn't have to travel far at all to illustrate the same talent those legends did in putting sound behind the emotions of heartache and joy that the best of country music captures. But even though AllMusic.com compared him to Sturgill Simpson and praised his first album's classy, decidedly retro feel, James is hardly trying to live in the past. He's building on the legacy left by those who helped create the genre, while perhaps reconnecting listeners with the vibe country had before it went pop, and beyond. And boy does he nail it, with a well-modulated baritone that occasionally dips towards bass territory or glides into tenor range. It's a voice born to be accompanied by a crying pedal steel or wailing fiddle. I'm evolving into a true blue country singer, in tune with the spirit of my idols, but forging my own personal path, James explains. He calls it an evolution because he didn't always sing this way. When he started to record his previous album for New West Records, he had more of a high lonesome sound. By the time it was released, 2 producers and 3 years later, his voice had become a deeper croon. But it was also finally released when the label had restaffed and relocated, and in many ways orphaned the release. When asked to sound less traditional on his next effort, the writing was on the wall that he and the label would part ways. His last recording for them was a cover of Ernest Tubbs' Let's Say Goodbye Like We Said Hello, which aired in a Shiner Beer Super Bowl commercial. For that, they let him be him. He wasn't going to lose the pedal steel and add more electric guitar for his follow-up. He had already been there, done that with his rock band. In fact, it was rock that got him into Austin and into country. James and a childhood friend had formed a band that played frequently in Houston. When they moved to Austin to start seeking gigs there, they made what James calls the fatal decision to room together. Meanwhile, he'd been rebuilding his relationship with his father, who'd split from his mother years ago. That rekindled his childhood obsession with Hank Williams. James wanted the band to do some Hank covers. It did not go over well. After a fight one night, James had to open mic to try some Williams songs. Here I am in long hair, probably resembling Graham Parsons more than anything, just playing Hank Williams stuff, he recalls. And they were leaving money in the tip jar, and I thought that's more money than I'd make with the whole band. So I became really possessed with writing country songs. It was an easy outlet for me, something fresh, and something I'd been searching for my whole life. Country is just so sincere, James continues. You can't lie to yourself and expect people to believe it. You've got to be honest. That's what I always loved about country music. It wasn't this facade of we're too cool for school.
Said goodbye, I hung my head and cried. For everyone knows I'm a fool for you. It killed me to see you go, but you said it had to be so. And it seems like tears ago, tears ago, I don't know when, lost track of time, busy losing my mind, your love grew cold, I don't recall when though. It seems like tears ago. You left our kids and our home for the wild side to roam. Your new family is behind swinging these arms of mine, you find more comfort in the warmth of the wine. And it seems like tears ago. Tears are gone, I don't know when, though. Lost track of time. Is he losing my mind? Your love grew cold. I don't recall when, though. Oh, but it seems like tears ago. Oh, and it seems like tears ago.
If music is a language and genres are its dialects, Brennan Lee is like a rosetic stone of country music's most arcane and endangered tongues. There's no bean counting going on behind the scenes with this one. No strategic calculations of how certain moves will affect a career track and bank account in the long term. There's just a pure love of the most original forms of country music, and a sincere desire to keep the dying embers of these art forms stoked, even if it means personal sacrifice to make it happen. This most recently has led Brennan Lee to dive headfirst into one of the hardest and most threatened forms of country music. Originally from the upper Midwest, Brennan Lee came up in Austin, Texas, which is very much in the heart of where Western swing once reigned supreme, where Bob Wills is still the king, as Waylon once said. But it was moving away to Nashville that allowed Lee to feel a yearning and fondness for this particular expression of country music, to the point where she wanted to cut a whole record of the stuff. And if one wants to release a definitive work of Western swing music, getting the preeminent purveyors of the subgenre in the modern era to back you up, that being Ray Benson and Asleep at the Wheel, seems like a pretty smart plan. The result is the 12 songs of Obsessed with the West, which will steer your mindset straight to the 1940s with its savory, Cindy Walker-style songs, spirited singing, and savvy instrumentation. What makes Obsessed with the West not just another Western swing record is how Brennan Lee is able to emphasize the playfulness that this approach to country music allows through its bouncy rhythm and the boundless possibilities of chords and lyricism. On this album, Lee puts this into service in large measure by singing about ungrateful and hapless men, but you won't be sobbing along as much as simply entertained. Whether purposeful or accidental, Obsessed with the West makes for a great breakup record.
If I treated you like you treat me, you'd run away and cry. You'd be wiping your little eyes. You'd be telling me goodbye and walking out the door. But if you treated me like I treated you, I would. I'd be smiling all day long. I'd be singing a happy song, Emily. I wouldn't be leaving little teardrops on the floor. Well, didn't you hear that golden rule that they taught you way back in school? And didn't you learn the true meaning? I guess you must have been daydreaming. But if I treated you like you treat me, you'd left a lot If I treated you
Don't do it.
like you treat me,
You would have left a long time ago.
I'd never leave you, Brenda.
I'd be nothing but a memory.
A sweet memory.
If I treated you like you,
Yes, like you treat
me.
The countryside of Harmonica Sam represents a rare and unique branch of contemporary country music. This is country music like it sounded in the late 50s and early 60s, more modern sounding than the 40s hillbilly style sometimes seen on the rockabilly scene around Europe. At the same time, it's far from the contemporary Nashville sound of country music. With a steady 4/4 shuffle, steel guitar, and tic-tac bass, the band performs their own original songs right alongside classics from Farron Young, Skeets McDonald, Billy Walker, and Ray Price, to name a few. The band members include bandmaster Peter Anderson, Ulrich Johnson, Patrick Momros, Johann Bandling Mellin, and Harmonica Sam. With origins in the blues scene in the mid-90s, Harmonica Sam soon took an interest in 50s rock and country music. Harmonica Sam's debut album is in his own name, Rocker No. 1, from Invokin Records, featuring piano rocker Boppin' Steve and the Domestic Bumblebees, was released in 2008, and a lot of shows across Europe followed. He first came across pedal steel player Peter Anderson at a show in 2009. Anderson had been playing Western swing and country music for years, together with his old buddies Ulrich Johnson and Patrick Momros. Johann Bandling Mellin, a talented songwriter from the bluegrass scene, also joined, and they all teamed up to form the countryside of Harmonica Sam.
Broken bottle, broken heart. It's hard to stand up straight when everything just falls apart. Now I need a brand new start. You know a broken bottle can't heal a broken heart. When I saw you for the last time, I was glad to see you go. You were nothing but a pastime. But how was I supposed to know just how soon I would be lonely and everything would start to crack? Now I know I need you only, and I can never have you back. Broken bottle, broken heart. It's hard to stand up straight when everything just falls apart. Now I need a brand new start. 'Cause you know a broken bottle can heal a broken heart. Tried to get myself together, pick up the pieces from the floor, but nothing turns out for the better, and I love you even more. I feel my hand reach for the bottle, I cut it deep on shard glass, headed downward now full throttle, and I don't know how long I'll last. Broken bottle, broken heart. It's hard to stand up straight when everything just falls apart. Now I need a brand new start. 'Cause you know a broken bottle can't heal a broken heart.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Logan Bennett, and y'all have a great day.
Ten 10,000 acres of lonesome
fly. Look at me, I'm a crying again. Look at me, I'm hurting by the time just working. It's game on me. You know some folks, they just can't win for try. Look at me, I'm a crying again. I got $1 in my pocket. It won't help me much in banging back your love. But if you selling heartache, then I'm buying. Look at me, I'm a crying again. $10,000 acres of worry. I've had my sins, 1 dozen at a time. I hurt so bad that you would think I died. Look at me, I'm a crying again. Look at me, I'm losing. Vice is just a doing anything she please. Don't you know that it's my, not your time? Look at me, I'm a crying again. Would you look at